This is part 2 of our 2-part series on our favorite morning and evening rituals.
Welcome to The Friday Habit with Benjamin Manley and Mark Labriola II.
The Friday Habit is for creators, entrepreneurs, and agency owners looking for actionable ideas on how to grow their business and be more profitable.
We'll pull from our combined knowledge of over 20 years and interview thought leaders that will inspire you and give you the motivation you need to kick your business into high gear. Buckle up. It's Friday.
2-part series being, this is the second part. If you haven't listened to last week's episode on evening rituals, go back and listen to that episode first, and then come back here and listen to this episode.
Yes, absolutely. I liked how we were very family-centric in that episode. I thought that was pretty cool. I'll be curious to see how this one turns out, what kind of morning rituals you have.
This one's all about me.
All right.
My turn.
All about you. That's right. That's right. Well, hey, speaking about all about us, let's talk about how awesome we are and how people are leaving us reviews. So Muida left us a review. He said, next level. Ben and Mark are as creative in the way they run their businesses as their work. Thank you, Muida. He also said their advice has helped me grow my business over the years. So thank you, Muida. I appreciate that. And also, yeah, if you're enjoying the podcast, leave us a review or rate us in the Apple Podcast app or wherever you listen. There's a link in the show notes that'll get you there. And we just started this new challenge with leaving us reviews. Mark, do you want to explain what it is?
Yeah, so we're going to just generate a random noun and see if you can work it into the review. What's our noun this week, Ben?
All right, I put in the random noun generator. Bedroom. Great. So work the word bedroom into your review.
This is a family show, so make sure it's appropriate.
Of me and Mark. I don't know where this is going, but I'm intrigued. If you work it in there, I will be impressed.
Kudos. Oh man. So last week we talked about evening rituals because, as I always say, a good morning starts with a good evening.
You just said that last week, so I guess you do say that a lot.
Yeah, so, there's all sorts of rituals that people have. Good, bad, indifferent, and sometimes weird.
Weird, you say? Yeah, actually, speaking of weird rituals, I found this article, 4 slightly weird morning rituals that will change your life. So before we jump into our rituals, I want to share some other people's rituals.
Disclaimer, these are not any of our rituals.
Speak for yourself. Number 1, tongue scraping.
Oh, right. Big tongue scraper.
I don't want to go into any details. I don't really understand. I'm just going to move to the next one. Tongue scraping. Number 2, neti potting.
Oh, brutal. That is very weird to neti pot first thing. And I've only neti potted when I've been very sick and congested.
This, by the way, this is an article. I want to give proper credit where credit is due. This is from Smaggle. So
Smaggle.com?
Yeah. So check out Smaggle. Number 1, tongue scraping. Number 2, neti potting. Number 3, dry body brushing. What? All right. I'm sure this is a thing. And I'm ignorant and because I'm laughing at it. But really? Dry body brush? I'm just going to read a description here. I can't even do it. All right. Dry body brushing. I get naked and give myself a good scrub in circular motions toward my heart. It's so tingly and delicious. It just wakes up your whole body and makes you feel fizzy and alive.
I like how the article is titled 4 slightly weird morning routine. I mean, I would like to know what their actually weird routines are. If body brushing is on their slightly weird morning routine.
Dry body brushing. I don't understand. Maybe I'm ignorant. Okay. I'm just going to be open-minded here. There's probably some benefits I don't understand, but that's a thing. Number 4, meditating. Man, meditating seems so normal compared to these other 3.
Yeah. That's it, huh? 4 is meditating. That's the 4th one.
So weird. Meditating.
That was entertaining. Well, last week I started off with my routine. So why don't you start off with your routines for the morning and then I'll close it out.
Sounds good. I'll be happy to. Yeah. So some of my favorite morning rituals. One thing I like to do is the very first thing I do, I like to make it about somebody else. And one of the biggest priorities of my life is my wife. So I like to make her coffee every morning. So first thing I do when I wake up pretty much is go downstairs, make her some coffee. I get her favorite mug out. I put it next to the coffee pot and just make sure she has her coffee. So when she wakes up, she's kind of one step ahead in her day. So I love doing that because it kind of gives me something physical to do right away, something simple. That's not complicated, not something I have to think about. It's kind of a routine. I can just make her a little bit of coffee and it makes her happy. So I think it starts everybody's day off in a good direction.
Nice. Happy wife, happy life.
There you go. Something else you like to say. I also like to make breakfast for my kids. And one of the reasons for this is I like to make coffee for Hannah first, my wife, and I like to make breakfast with the kids and kind of give her about 30 minutes to an hour in the morning to kind of wake up and think about her day. She doesn't have a lot of thinking time. I mean, being with 3 kids, especially right now during the quarantine and all that kind of stuff, there's not a lot of time she has to be able to think when she's taking care of 3 kids. So I like to give her a little bit of time in the morning before I leave. I think it's only fair that she has a little bit of quiet time when I have quiet time at work all the time when I can be thinking or choosing what I do with my time, but she doesn't have that opportunity very much. So I like to make them breakfast so she can kind of take a break, sit in her chair, drink her coffee just for 30 minutes in the morning. That's one of my favorite morning rituals. I also, lately, my son, Jack, is 10, and he's recently gotten into cross country. He's actually quite a good runner, and I have trouble keeping up with him now. So him and I will go for a morning run some mornings. And it's kind of a good time for us to catch up. He loves to talk. Actually, that really helps me keep up with him because if he's talking, then he's a little extra oxygen and I can kind of keep up. So I'll ask him some deep questions and then we'll start running, and that way I can keep up.
Nice.
So yeah, going for a run with him is great because we get to connect in the morning, do something we both enjoy, and we both kind of start out the day with some good exercise. Then sometimes when I get back from that, usually when I take a shower, I take a cold shower. I used to do just, cold showers where you just jump in and it's already cold. But that's a lot. It takes a lot more willpower than it does to jump into a shower, turn it up till it gets so hot that it's almost like too hot. This is the way easier way to take a cold shower, in my opinion. You get too hot to where it's almost uncomfortable after a minute or two, and then you turn it all the way to cold, and it almost feels refreshing having that cold shower.
Nice.
And so, yeah, that just kind of wakes me up. I don't drink coffee, so that's kind of my version of drinking coffee because I get out of there and I'm like fully invigorated, like
ready to go.
I'm psyched. So yeah, I like to take a cold shower. I mentioned in last week's episode about riding my electric bike or riding my one wheel to work. And I love doing that. It gives me a little exercise, get out in the brisk, cool morning air, and just kind of start my day with doing something fun that I enjoy. And then, after that, I'll tackle that most important task for the day that I mentioned before that I usually set the night before. So I'll tackle, whatever I decided is the most important thing. I'll put on, either that like Portal app or something that gives me 100% focus, set on maybe a Pomodoro timer, set a timer for 30 minutes or so and focus 100% on getting that one thing done before I move on to something else. And that really helps.
I like that. I think the fact that you are making your wife feel love in the morning, making her coffee, and then making breakfast for the kids, I think that speaks wonders without you having to say anything, if you will. I love that. And then the cold shower, I'm all about the cold shower, but usually only after I am at the gym in the sauna. So they're going from the sauna to the shower.
Yep.
They say that it increases blood flow. It like boosts your immune system. So I think there's a lot about that cold shower that is beneficial. Sometimes there's some gyms that have like a cold tub where you can do like hot tub, cold tub, like plunge,
I've never done that.
I wish I could find a place like that.
I do remember doing, I don't know if you ever have done any of those things like Tough Mudder or all those types of challenges, but I did Tough Mudder one time. It was one of those ones where they have like, if you're familiar with it, they do things like they literally electrocute you while you're running through stuff. You're jumping over fire, you're crawling through tubes with spiders in them. It's just kind of ridiculous over the top. But it's because like I don't know. For some reason, us guys like to put ourselves through that sometimes because it's a challenge, right?
Yeah.
So one of them, though, there was this giant, it's kind of like a shipping container, I guess, full of water, and there was ice in it. And man, I've never felt water that cold because the ice hadn't even melted. There's about a foot worth of ice, like ice cubes that hadn't melted, still in the water. So when you jump into it, I just instantly, like my whole body, I have never felt water so cold that where it was not a conscious effort that I was breathing quickly. It was just like, I just like started breathing. I couldn't control my breathing all of a sudden. And then we had to go underneath the water under this barrier in the middle of it. So you had to swim down underwater through it and then out the other side.
Oh
and I mean, I've never had an instant headache before, but I had a headache like instantly from going underwater. And then after about 2 minutes, I felt amazing, but it was pretty crazy, like how cold that water was. And then after that, I was like, you know what? Cold showers are not a big deal. Like this feels great.
Are you a tough mudder then? Did you complete the race?
Yeah.
Did you get your t-shirt?
Yeah. Yep.
Like, yeah, I'm a tough mudder.
Of course.
But,
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been on a backpacking trip where we were up in the mountains and there was like icebergs floating in the lake still.
Oh my
and
gosh.
a bunch of dudes, jump in and instantly as you hit the water, your body like freaks out like how do I get out of this? And then you're like dry heaving because it's like so cold and you're trying to like claw your way to shore.
Right. So you recommend this as part of your morning routine? Is what you're saying?
Yeah, find a glacier and
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess cold showers to some people are kind of a miserable thought. Like, why would you do that to yourself? Honestly, it's the reward after the cold shower that feels so good. When you get out, you just feel, I don't know how to explain it. You just feel 100% better. You just feel amazing coming out. So it's kind of like going for a run or something where it's, yeah, sure, it's hard doing it, but when you're done, you feel great.
Yeah. No, I think that's awesome. Yeah. So my morning routine is waking up.
Mm-hmm.
I usually like to wake up.
That's good.
I just like to wake up. That's it.
Yeah.
I like to wake up before the rest of the house.
Okay.
So it's quiet. It's usually dark. 5:30, 5:45.
How do you get up without waking everybody up?
Well, I have a fitness watch that has a vibrating alarm.
Okay.
And so I just set it and my wrist vibrates and I wake up. And then I usually have had coffee going. I really wasn't much of a coffee person. But what I found is that there's something in that ritual of, pouring yourself a cup of coffee. I usually like it just to be black. It's like a warm liquid. It's got some caffeine in it.
A little warm liquid in the morning. Yeah. Great.
Nothing like a little
Some
warm
bean
liquid.
water. Yep.
That's right. If I had my choice, I would probably drink an energy drink.
Okay.
But they're just so bad for you.
Yeah.
It's like I feel guilty if I were to drink a Red Bull or a Monster or something like every morning.
Right.
I just feel like it'd be like, okay, you get the caffeine hit and the vitamin hit, but then it's kind of probably not good for your like innards.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But coffee is nature. It's got a drug in it called caffeine. Mm-hmm. And it just starts to clear your mind, it starts firing synapses in your brain and gets things moving. And so I'll, pour the cup of coffee and then I'll go down into my home office and I will turn on some meditative music, some sort of like yoga playlist or something that has like nature sounds and harps and, different things like that. And I'll just try to focus and spend a little time thinking about nothing. And then I'll kind of journal, go through a few questions of, some gratitudes, write things I'm thankful for down, kind of do some of that journaling. And then from there, especially when the gym is open, I like to head out to the gym. I find that if I don't intentionally plan, so like having all my gym bag packed and everything like that the night before,
right,
it makes it a lot more difficult for me to like get going. It's like if my bag is packed and I'm ready to go, I'm halfway there. So now it's like, well, I don't have an excuse.
You're already prepped. You're ready
I'm
to
already
go.
prepped.
All you have to
I
do is
might
walk
as well
out the
just
door.
go.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Smart.
And so I like to get to the gym. So get to the gym. I do a couple different workouts there. I Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, I try to do strongman lifts, which are a particular lifting program that adds a little bit of weight every single time you lift, and it alternates. And then I like to do a little bit of the treadmill on Tuesdays and Thursdays and get that going. And then I like to get in the sauna for like 20 minutes, sweat it out, get real hot, listen to some podcasts and things like that as I'm doing those things, and then shower and get all ready there, and then head to work. On nice days, in the winter time, I'm usually driving.
Right.
When it's like the end of spring and summer, I like to bike. And like we talked about, the Rad Rover, which is a Rad Power Bikes, is a bike that I also have. Well, you can go like 30 miles an hour on it, which is sweet. So I only live maybe like 7 miles from work, I think. But when you're going 30 miles an hour, you can get there pretty quickly. So, and then, just being out in nature, like in the morning, it's like cool and like the fresh air, and you're just, I don't know, it makes you come alive,
Yeah.
And then the other thing I like to do is just get to a zero inbox. So I like to go through all of my mail and organize it, either come back later, respond, or delete. And I use an app called Spark.
Yeah.
It's a mail app for Mac computers. And the thing I love about it is that it allows you to snooze emails. So if it's something I want to deal with another day or want to be reminded later in the day, I'll snooze it or I'll archive it or I will respond to it. And so I like to get my inbox to zero.
Nice. That's really good. Actually, just on a side note with Spark, I use Spark too, and I really highly recommend it. There's a couple other cool features that are really nice about it. One is that for me, I don't like to respond to emails after hours. And if I do it on a rare occasion, I don't want anybody to know that I was responding to them after hours. So you can schedule
later.
It. Exactly. You can schedule to send later, which is a great feature. So sometimes I'll respond to something, very rarely, like in the evening, if I happen to see it or something like, I should respond to this. I don't want to forget about it, but I do not want my client to know I sent them an email at 9 p.m. So I have it scheduled to go back out the next day at 9 or 9:30 or something next morning. So
I love that. And I have my whole team on it as well. So the nice thing is they have some collaborative things. So you can invite people to an email that they can read. You can actually chat about the email within the email.
Yeah, there's like comments below the email.
Yeah, there's like comments below that are just private with you and your team. And then you can delegate emails, which is nice. And you can invite people to write a draft. Like if you're working on an email, Audrey at the office, she's a way better writer than I am. She has a larger vocabulary. And she also can stop me from saying something dumb, so I'll invite her to the email as I'm drafting it.
Yep.
And so I love Spark Mail, for those purposes.
Yeah, I think they also have those like email templates, and I think you can even do shared templates with your team too. So if you're out of town and Audrey's answering emails, then you can have like a typical response for a first contact or whatever.
Yeah.
I love that kind of stuff. It's super helpful. And I know we're going a little sidetrack. I'm going to mention one other email app because you're talking about like getting to inbox zero. One that I've started using, it's only for Mac desktop right now. It's not in beta, but it's kind of a new one. And they're still working on the mobile version and stuff, but it's called Tempo. And have you seen that app yet?
I have not.
Okay. It's super minimal and I love it because it makes you focus 100% on each message at a time. So basically, it keeps all of your stuff out of your inbox, and then it reminds you, I think you can set it at different times, but I have it set to like twice a day at like 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. It'll give you a reminder like, oh, don't forget to process your inbox, and then you hit a play button. It takes over your whole screen, and it shows you one message at a time with like 2 buttons. It's like, you can either say like archive, or make it into a to-do item, or the other thing you can do is do a quick reply, which is like 140 characters or something, where it's like, oh, just do a quick reply to it. So basically it gives you very few decisions, and the whole idea is to not overwhelm you with your whole inbox, but to give you one thing at a time, and you make a choice whether this is something you need to do something about, or something you need to archive, or something you can reply to right away. Yeah, super minimal. I love it just because it's not feature heavy. It's very about
very minimalistic looking.
Yeah, how do you process it? It's just well designed. So I definitely recommend that too if you're interested in kind of making that part of your daily routine as far as like getting to inbox zero. But yeah, that's a good one. I love your list. I feel like what you said about thinking about nothing, like listening to meditative music and not having any thoughts at all. I think that's pretty cool. Just being able to take that time and clear your mind a little bit. that stood out to me. And also, getting to inbox zero at the beginning of the day so you have kind of a fresh start is a cool idea too.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that's the evening routines. There it is.
Or the morning ones.
Or the morning ones.
Yeah. I mean,
well, that's the morning routines. There it is.
Yep. There they are.
And hopefully some of these have maybe inspired you or have maybe given you some ideas for your own routines. Hey, if you have some routines that you'd like to share with us, go ahead and hit us up online. Go to thefridayhabit.com and you can kind of share what you do with us there. Any action item? What do we got for these guys?
Yeah, I was just going to recommend choosing either one of the ones we mentioned today or something else that's inspired you. Just think through your morning routine you have now and decide what tweaks do you want to make. Is there something in your life that's important that you're not making part of your morning routine? And maybe consider adding that to your routine with a specific time and location that you're doing it, as well as any objects in your life that you want to include in that routine.
Awesome. And you know what? Go to thefridayhabit.com. You can find show notes there for each episode. You can find links to our websites and ways to get in touch with Ben and I. And at the bottom of the page, you can download our guide to the Friday Habit System. It's going to show you how to set one day aside each week to dedicate it to working on your business instead of in your business. All right?
And also, hey, if you get a chance, go to the Apple Podcast app. Leave us a review with the word bedroom in it.
That's right. Hey, thanks so much for listening to The Friday Habit. And until next time, live every day like it's Friday.